Hello. Hi. Happy Thursday. I had to think of what day it was. Hello. Ooh, woo. Hello, Twitch. Hello, YouTube. Hello, Alyssa. Welcome. Congratulations on your purchase. I don't know what the lavish edition has that is different from the normal one, but yay. And be as random as you like. Feel free. Welcome, everybody. I decided to leave our little background music going. Let me know if it's too loud or not. Keep me posted. So today, hi Lily, welcome. Alola, my friend. It's good to see you. I hope you had a lovely Thursday. It was a bit of a long day for me, but we're here, we're chilling, and we're gonna talk some cats. Mythological cats, of course. You're cold, get a blankie, get a hoodie, some fuzzy socks, if you will. So today we're talking cats. Not just any cats, but the kind of the mythical variety. Cryptids, folklore, etc. So last time we did this was Velcro's birthday. We talked about kitty cats for Velcro's birthday. Hi, Aqua! Congratulations on your 40 stream streak. Yippee hooray. Congratulations. I hope you had a good Thursday. But we went... Ooh, my mic's a little low. We went from... Badoop. What was I gonna say? From A to K last time. We went cryptids from A to K, and now we're gonna go from L to Z, the rest of the alphabet. Hello, Riri. Welcome. I hope you also had a lovely Thursday. I hope it was a good time, or at least bearable. Tonight's beverage is water. I need to drink more of it today, so we're just sticking with the hydration station. Spoopy time! Hi, Pillow. Welcome. I hope you also had a lovely Thursday. We're chilling and we're talking spooky stuff for Halloweenkies, and I'm already planning shit for the rest of the month and for next week for more ooky spooky shit. Want to stop by and say, hey, gotta go finish stuff. Have a good rest of your stream. Thank you, Aqua. I appreciate you. I hope whatever you're working on turns out okay. But yes, it is time for the Ookie Spookies. We're going to start with the letter L, and we're going to go all the way to Z. So how many letters is that? L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. 15! We got 15 cryptids to discuss today. And they are all at least somewhat feline. Last time there were a few of them that I thought were questionably feline. I was asking questions, because some of them were very chimera-esque, you know, had lots of different animals and body parts. So we'll see what we get when we pull these cats out of the hat. It is spooky season. I am very excited. I've got some more spooky games. And of course, we're going to be starting Undertale next week for spooky season. Is it a spooky game? I know there's skeletons in it. So maybe it works. But Henry is very excited to start Undertale. I've got Undertale, and I've got actually another cryptid game. I've got a cryptid game that we can play. So, and it focuses on Mothman, and y'all know I love me some Mothman. Y'all know I am a Mothman bitchard. So, alright, let's get this party started, shall we? So this was the cryptid that we ended on last Last session was the Kellis cat, which is a hybrid of the Scottish wildcat and domesticated cats in Scotland. Did someone say Mothman? Yes, I did. Hello, Lorenzo. We'll see Mothman next week. I promise. But we're not discussing him today because we got cat cryptids to discuss. But I love some Mothman. I would like to eventually go to Point Pleasant, is it Virginia? That he was sighted, because they got a statue and a museum, and I would like to go. I think that would be a really fun little road trip. I would enjoy that very much. I mean, listen, a cryptid road trip across the country would slap. It would just be a good time, right? Anyway. The Mothman statue in Point Pleasant is cheeked. Yes, I have seen photos. They cheeked up on a Tuesday, and for what? For what, married? They're gonna get married behind Mothman's booty cheeks? I mean, like, do what you want, but that's... That's silly. Oh my god, that's so funny. Anyway, so we are going... Where is my image? I pulled up an image of our next Ookie Spooky. So this one shares a name with an animal that does exist. But we are not going to confuse it with the animal that does exist, because this one does not. This is what it looks like. And as you can see, it's kind of cat-esque, but like... looks like my sister when she hasn't had her coffee. What, this or Mothman? That's funny. But this one, for letter L, is called the Lynx. And you may say, Martha... Oh, the Kellis cat? Okay, yeah, no, I feel that. Listen, I am also a grumpy bitch in the morning. I am not a morning person. Anyway, this is a lynx, and you're like, Martha, lynx exist. Yes, they do, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this thing. So this particular cryptid, whoop, she's gonna go get you. Sorry, Lorenzo. This lynx dates back to Greek and Norse mythology, so the myths of this thing have been around for quite some time. So allegedly, this lynx goes farther back, but it was also in medieval myths as well. So, it is described as having the body of a panther with the head of a dog. And honestly, that's a fairly accurate description, I would say. Or at least the person who drew this, painted this, like, really went with that concept, right? And the tail of a cow. I don't know. It could be like a lion tail, maybe? Yeah, lion, I think. Now, it said, the weirdest fact, I think, of this one, is it said that this beast had magical pee. It said that the urine of this beast, when it would dig a hole in the ground, and then urinate in the hole, and then cover it, after a few days... The pee would harden into like a valuable gem. And some people think that this is like the myth of like amber came from, because apparently it was like similar to that. So magic pee, and apparently this gem could attract metal and other precious objects. So I guess people were going and looking for the pee stones of this thing, so they could get some more valuable stuff, which is pretty wild. So, this thing also had contact with the Roman gods. So the... Why does this article use the Greek name for her? Or is Demeter... What is Demeter's Roman name? Ceres? Let's see. Demeter, Roman name. Ceres. Okay. Alright. So, the goddess Ceres commands a young man named Triptolemus to travel the world and teach the art of agriculture so that everybody could eat, and all that kind of shit. So this young man arrives at the court of King Lincus, who, wants to get in the good graces of Ceres. Thank you, Riri, for checking my notes. So he wants to gain the goddess's favor, and so he's like, okay, how do I get this woman to like me? Because she seems to like this young guy more than me. So, while he's asleep, while this young man, Triptolemus, is asleep, the king goes to kill him. But as he raises his sword, he gets transformed into a lynx of this variety. So the goddess was like, you're not gonna kill my mans. Therefore, I am going to turn you into this beast. Goodbye to your kingdom forever and ever. Amen. So that was a fun little legend. There was a market for bird poop in the 30s. Why? For what reason? Ooh, that could be a fun Halloween episode or a fun Halloween stream, is looking at like snake oil and weird remedies of the past. Oh, look at you getting me with ideas. Let's see, the last thing mentioned about the lynx was that in 1603 in Italy there was a scientific society formed to study these things, which was called the Accademia dei Lince, or the Academy of Lynxes. And Galileo was actually among its members, so Galileo was looking to learn more about these things. So they were inspired by seeing illustrations of a lynx on the cover of a book. And so it was said, with lynx-like eyes, examining those things which manifest themselves, so that having observed them, he may zealously use them. Their emblem was a lynx battling with Cerberus, the three-headed dog of the underworld, which therefore gave the lynx a reputation of seeing through falsities and discovering the truth. So in creating this academic society, they wanted to, I guess it wasn't to, like, study the lynx, but to, like, discover the truth like a lynx might. So I guess they called themselves lynxes because they were discovering the truth, which is interesting. I mean, huh. I wonder, because all the illustrations of this type of lynx are, like, in the stars. They're all, like, galactical and shit in the sky. Is there a constellation of a lynx? Let's see. Lynx constellation. Let's find out. Oh! There is one. Okay, there is a constellation called the Lynx. Maybe it was inspired by this thing? Hang on. It says it was named after the animal observed in the northern hemisphere. Introduced in the 17th century by Johannes Hevelius. The constellation is faint, but its brightest stars form in a zigzag line. 17th century, that's the 1600s. Yeah, so I guess Okay, so that... Oh, so that's why it's in the sky. Interesting. I didn't know that a Lynx constellation existed. Ooh, and there's more. Okay. Interesting. So the earliest drawing of the Lynx constellation is in 1690. Interesting. Look at that. We got a cat in the sky. We have multiple cats in the sky because we have the Leo constellation. So we have a Leo, a Lynx. We got cats, we got bears, we got all sorts of aminals in the sky. That could be a fun stream too. Let's discuss constellations. I love that. Okay, so let's move on to letter M, shall we? Let me get my... Oh. Ooh. Interesting. Oh, I like that. And this should look familiar because a certain animated movie on Netflix has this type of animal in it. Oh, that's a big picture. That's big. Let me go ahead and move it. What did I miss? Undertale. Martha would want to do pacifist, but it's harder. It makes you feel better morally. Oh, Jesus. Oh, we're going to get into... Oh, no. Okay, because we mentioned Undertale earlier. Okay, well, thanks for the warning. Because I knew nothing of Undertale. Absolutely nothing. Okay. How far does this go? Okay. That goes there. Does it remind you of a certain animated tiger? This reminds me of that tiger in K-pop Demon Hunters. We got blue tigers. And this is called the Maltese tiger. They're tigers but blue. I think that's it, but let's find out, shall we? So, the Maltese, a note on the name. The Maltese in Maltese tiger refers to the color, not the land of origin. So they are blue tigers, bluish at least, like a Maltese cat. I don't think I've ever looked at a Maltese cat. What are they? Oh, they're kind of that grayish blue. Like cool toned gray. Okay. Interesting. So it was reported in the early 20th century, like the 19 teens, by a big game hunter, an American, obviously, in Fuzhou, China, in Fujian province. So apparently he was like, yo, they got blue tigers over here. And people were like, I don't believe you. You're crazy. You know, as most cryptid sightings go. But, yes, Riri sees the resemblance. Honestly, we love a blue tiger. I love that. But let's dig into more of these myths, right? Said to have bluish fur and dark gray stripes. Most of the Maltese tigers that have been reported are of the South Chinese subspecies of tiger, which is critically endangered due to its illegal and continued use in traditional Chinese medicine. The blue alleles may be wholly extinct, but blue tigers have also been reported in Korea. Maybe why we saw one in K-pop Demon Hunters. Let me actually pull up... Just before I forget... Okay. Interesting. We'll go into that in a minute. But back to the Maltese tiger. Let's see. So, yeah, in 1910, this American dude named Harry Caldwell, was over here, like, hunting tigers. And apparently he caught a blue tiger in the city of Fuzhou. So he wrote a book called Blue Tiger in 1924, writing about his experience, and he makes the following note. The markings of the beast are strikingly beautiful. The ground color is of a delicate shade of Maltese, changing into light gray blue on the underparts. The stripes are well defined, and like those of an ordinary yellow tiger. And is this photo? This looks photoshopped as hell. I was like, there's a photo of a tiger that's blue, but I don't know if I believe it. A more recent report in Mystery Cats of the World comes from a U.S. Army soldier who served in Korea during the Korean War, and his son. So this man saw a blue tiger in the mountains in Korea, and it's now a demilitarized zone. And there have also been reports of sightings in Burma. The black tiger was also considered mythical, but several pelts have proven that pseudo-melanistic or hypermelanic tigers do exist. They are not completely black, but have dense, wide stripes that partially obscure the orange background color. In support of the blue tiger theory. Okay. Listen, the man said yellow. Maybe we shouldn't trust him because he can't see orange. Maybe man's is a little colorblind. But let's see what they have in defense of blue tigers, right? So Maltese colored cats do exist, and the most common are domestic cats, like the breed the Russian Blue, and a variety of the British short hair. But there are blue bobcats and lynxes that do exist, and those are from genetic mutations that create this bluish gray hue. Let's see. So there is a theory that blue tigers have two different pairs of recessive alleles, which combine to create that blue-gray color, like in Maltese cats. But those alleles would probably not create striped blue tigers that are usually reported. They would probably be just kind of all over blue-gray. So, like, they could have got those recessive genes, but honestly, I'm pretty sure the tigers, like what we see on the screen, are mythological in nature. So. Okay. Listen, I would love a blue tiger. That would be real pretty. I do think. So, let's take a little rabbit trail about this blue tiger from K-pop Demon Hunters, and where that came from. So, let's see. A tiger, a magpie, and a sacred tree. Okay, so the characters in K-pop Demon Hunters were inspired by Jakodo, which is Korean folk art, featuring a tiger and a magpie. So tigers and magpies are often paired together in Korean mythology. In Korean culture, magpies are believed to bring good news, and tigers are regarded as guardians that drive away evil and protect your house. So the folk art was popular. The pairing of the magpie and the tiger was popular because it was supposed to, like, keep evil spirits away and bring good fortune into your household. But why blue? Oh, the art could also be interpreted as a satire of the different power dynamics between the rich and the working class. So the magpie represents common people, and the tiger is the rich and powerful. So if the artist was following that interpretation, the Jakodo, the folk art, depicts tigers, comically to mock authority. It's kind of like ancient Eat the Rich, I guess. And the magpie is painted above the tiger, as if trying to tell the tiger something or taunt it. Interesting. But why blue? There was another myth that had a tiger in it. Oh, okay, right. So there's a myth about the founding of Korea that involves a tiger, which is why tigers became so important. It's like a creation myth of the Korean nation. And I know we're going a little bit off of the Maltese tiger, but listen, tigers have been a special interest of mine since I was a child, so I can just go on. Bear with me. But let's see. Huh. Never mind, that's more about the bears than it is about the tiger. Because the myth is there's a tiger and a bear who lived together in a cave, and they prayed to this divine god to be made human. So the god heard their prayers and gave them 20 cloves of garlic and a bundle of mugwort. And he's like, all right, stay out of the sun and only eat this for 100 days and you'll turn into a human. The tiger, being an obligate carnivore, was like, I can't do this. So after 20 days, the tiger left the cave, but the bear stayed inside. And so after another 21 days, she didn't even need to do the full 100. So after 41 days total, she became a woman. Where this bear, I don't know what the gender of the bear was before, but it turned into a woman. And so the god ended up marrying her. They had a son, and then that son would go on to found Korea, allegedly. So, tigers are more of a, like, protection symbol. But I guess bear is like divine mother. But that's interesting. Kind of that blue tiger with the folk art, I guess. I guess the tiger could be bluish in hue in some of these folk art pieces. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, a lot of them are kind of gray-ish. Yeah, so I guess they kind of took the gray, but like turned up the saturation and made it more blue for the film. But there definitely are some normal, like, orangey tigers as well in this type of art. Nice. Anyway, Maltese tigers. I know I went on a little rabbit trail there, but that's what these streams are for, right? It's just to learn some shit. Oh. Well, the letter O we have already done, I think. It was more of a dog, because we did a stream, and we talked about the Ozark Howler, or at least I think we did. Does that sound familiar to y'all? Ozark Howler. Yeah, that looks more like a bear wolf than a cat. That does not give cat to me. Let me see. Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna count that. Give me cats. Well, I mean, we could talk about the Ozark Howler again, but... Oh, well, there's this. Let's see what this gives us. Ooh, there's another one. Ah, ha, ha, ha. There we go. Ooh. Ooh, this one's an Aztec folklore. Ooh, 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 ooh. I like this. Okay. Yeah. Let's get some indigenous American shit in here. Okay. Give me... Goodbye, Maltese Tiger. We love you. But now... It's time for this guy. Look at him. We went from stripes to spots. But I kind of love it. Yes, 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 yes. Let's take a look at this guy. Okay. This guy is called... the Onza. I like that name. Onza. Hi, Henry. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. We are on letter O, because I went on a little rabbit trail for letter M. But we're on letter O, the Onza. Perfect timing. Let's discuss, shall we? So, this thing, I have never heard of it, but I'm excited. Has been recorded since the Spanish conquistadors invaded Mexico in 1519. Said to be found in the zoo of Emperor Montezuma under the Aztec name that I am going to butcher, called Cuitlamitztli. Yeah, I do not speak that language, but it's super cool. So, the Onza is claimed to be a feline species similar to a cougar. So, it is a cryptid because it has not been proven to exist. We don't have scientific evidence. But, the term Onza has also been used to, refer to an existing species related to the cougar called the jaguarundi. How are my cats doing today? Congratulations on your streak. Where's... Velcro is... I got a new chair. I just gotta figure out how to, get rid of my old chair, because honestly, it's tore up from the flow up. So I got a new office chair. Well, new to me. It's not brand new, but it's new to me. And she's sitting in it. She's having donut time in her chair. JJ's pretty chill. Again, we took away one of the little cardboard panels from the gate so they could see each other. And they're eating their meals. Although, Velcro does get annoyed at treat time that she can see him eating treats, because she wants all the treats. And I'm like, you have your treats, damn it. You can't have all of them. But, they're doing alright. I think we're doing good. And we may take another panel away in the next few days. If all continues to go well. Or maybe at least next week. So. But they're chill. JJ and I took a nap earlier this afternoon before teaching. Because JJ was being extra cuddly. And I was like, ah yes. Ah yes, soft fluffy cat man. Yes, I am going to take a nap. And then got woken up by my alarm being like, go teach. But they are happy. Happy cats. Okay, so it was first discovered again in 1519, but more sightings again popped up in 1938 and in 1986. A couple of animals that were hunted, identified as onzas. The only viable specimen to have been examined was contributed by a rancher named Andre Murillo. In January 1986, he shot what he thought was a jaguar attacking him, but it proved not to be a jaguar. So he brought it to somebody else who owned a nearby ranch. It was female, 60 pounds. The body, excluding the tail, 45 inches long, so just under 4 feet. And the tail was 23 inches, just under 2 feet. It had the appearance of a cougar with a long, thin body and long, thin, dog-like legs. Deer was found in the stomach. And Vega, the man who owned the ranch and examined the specimen, told Murillo that the specimen greatly resembled the onza his father had shot in the 70s, the skull of which he still had, which is interesting. JJ got plenty of treats, trust me. Nah, but cats are just so territorial. Like, you have to make sure that all cats have enough resources in your house, or else somebody's gonna be mad. You know, they still are a little wild at heart. Because honestly, they only domesticated themselves for a steady supply of food. Pfft, that's the only reason they put up with people. I mean, they're God's perfect killing machine. They were just made itty bitty teeny tiny enough for us to cuddle and give smooches on the head. But yeah, they're different than dogs, but I love them. I love them. Ugh. Just ornery little bastards. Yeah, that's you. I'm talking shit about you. And she goes back to sleep. Onza's cousin selling me Cheetos. You know, the art does kind of look like a little bit like Chester Cheeto. That's funny. Okay. So, they were often compared to cougars, but had lighter frames and striped legs. This one, I don't see a lot of stripes on the legs, but it's art. A little artistic interpretation. Oh, shit! Okay, researchers from Texas Tech University, a university in my home state, examined a frozen onza corpse in the 1990s and concluded it was most likely a genetic variant of the cougar, but not a distinct species. DNA testing has shown that specimen to be a puma, with no significant difference between it and any other puma. So people are just bringing these things in and being like, they exist, they're real, and scientists are like, no, these are other cats, stop it. Which is funny. Yes, they are sassy. Very sassy. And maybe breathing fire? That's what it looks like. Oh, Mabel, your new kitten. Yes, I'm sure she was quite curious. Did y'all only adopt her? Ooh, there's another little blurb at the end. Some cryptozoologists propose that the onzas are American cheetahs called the how do I say this? Miracinonyx. Okay. Big cats that were more closely related to pumas than to modern cheetahs. The American cheetah went extinct about 10,000 years ago, shortly after the last ice age, possibly as a result of human encroachment on its territory. Damn it, humans ruin everything. A legend less well known among cryptozoologists states that there are 2 species of American cheetah living in Mexico, one usually called onza and the other by a local name. Okay. Interesting. See, cryptozoologists are like, what if it's this thing that went extinct 1,000 years or more, multiple thousands of years ago? And people are like, I don't know. I don't know about that. I feel like onza. I feel like with these drawings, there has to be a better story. Ooh, yeah, give me a legend. Let's see. In one legend, after the Spaniards settled in Mexico, the animal was seen more often, and some unidentified group of people gave it the name Onza. A Jesuit priest wrote, "It is not as timid as the cougar, and he who ventures to attack it must be well on his guard." Another missionary wrote, "An Onza dared to invade my neighbor's mission when I was visiting and attacked a 14-year-old boy in broad daylight." Ooh, and a few years ago, another killed the strongest and most respected soldier in our area. Oh, gotta go already. Enjoy the rest of the stream. Okay. Have a good Thursday night and a good Friday. I'll see you next time. Good night. Okay, so they were not afraid of people, which is interesting. Alright. Alrighty. Onzas. I just enjoy the art very much. Alright. Let's go ahead and let's do the next one. The letter P. Kitty did what now? Walking between you. Yeah, no, going between rooms is normal. They're checking out their territory. Seeing what's up. Normally when you bring a new cat into your space, you want to kind of keep it in an enclosed area, and that's kind of like their safe space. And once they get used to the safe space, then you can kind of let them explore more areas of the house. But I think it would be a good idea to establish like a home base for Mabel, so she can get used to that, and if she gets overwhelmed later on, she can go back and know that that room or that space is her safe space for her. I mean, if there are no other cats in the house, that's a little less, like, imminently important, but I still think it's a good idea, you know? Alright, letter P! This is a funny one. Let's see, what do we got? Ooh, we got some medieval artwork. I love a weird little medieval artwork. They're so silly looking. Here we go. Look at this thing. Oh my god. Looky there. Yeah. Whoopee. Okay, so this guy is called the Pard. Silly name for a silly little guy. This is the Pard. And they are often depicted as large felines with mottled coats like a giraffe. So we got giraffe cats. And this is the second time that a medieval bestiary is mentioned. If you love a medieval bestiary, you'll love a Pard. What is that? Medieval bestiary. What is that? Oh, a medieval book of beasts. Illustrated volumes that described various animals. Okay, interesting. So, the Pard. So they have a couple of different stories. The people were fighting about the demeanor of these animals. So, Apparently, they have a similar appearance to a lion, but without a mane and a mottled coat like a giraffe's. Some have said, some of the people who did not like pards, said they were bloodthirsty creatures that could kill their prey with a single leap. And there was a Byzantine poem, or Byzantine, however you want to say it, called An Entertaining Tale of Quadrupeds that stated, pards are described as being resistant to fleas, thus making their pelts good for bedspreads. Okay, cool. Pards would mate with a lioness to create a leopard, which were thought to be hybrids. When a male lion smells the strong scent of a pard on a lioness, he would be thrown into a rage and kill the lioness. To prevent this, the lioness would wash the pard's scent off of her or follow from a distance. Okay, interesting. The earliest known reference to a pard comes from, Pliny the Elder. I've heard about him, specifically on Tasting History, one of my favorite YouTube channels, because this guy apparently also did, like, cookbooks. But Pliny the Elder has has the earliest known reference to a pard in his book, Natural History. So he described the mating habits of the pard and the lioness in that book, and then more medieval books started to write about them. So they were given their ferocious and bloodthirsty reputation in the 13th century. They were described as signifying either the devil, full of a diversity of vices, or the sinner, spotted with crimes and a variety of wrongdoings, possibly even the Antichrist. Listen, how could the Antichrist be such a weird-looking little guy? You think that's the Antichrist? Really? Are we sure? I don't think he could be the Antichrist. Nah. That's silly. That's so funny. But, okay, so that's one camp, that bloodthirsty, awful, terrible Antichrist. But there's another camp of people who described the pard as a beautiful and gentle creature. And said that the pard's only enemy is the dragon, and their roar is said to terrify the dragon into retreating into its den. They were said to sleep for 3 days after eating and carrying a sweet scent in its mouth when awakened, which would attract all other animals except for the dragon. Interesting. I kind of like how one side is like terrible, awful, hate him, and then like the other camp is like, nah, they're chill. They're just silly little guys, and they're very gentle. But like, if you have a dragon problem, call on this guy. He'll take care of it. The pard is great. And also their pelts can be used for bedspreads. Like, oh, that's funny. There's an explanation. In the 1750s, it became clear to biologists that leopards... Okay. These medieval weirdos just didn't know what a leopard was. Leopards were not a hybrid species. Pard is also the Greek word for leopard. The pard is now mythological and a fantasy, having never existed in the first place. Oh my god! These medieval fools just lost information. Did not know. The Greeks knew what the fuck a leopard was, but these guys had no clue, and they're like, it's the Antichrist! No, it's just a cat you've never seen before. It's a leopard! That's so stupid. I love that. I love this weird little thing. That's so funny. Alyssa says, okay, good to know. Oh, she looks like Smokey? That's cute. It's like Smokey sent you another friend. I should have known it would have been a leopard with the name of Pard. That's silly. Oh, and there's a bunch more medieval drawings at the end of this. Oh god, I love ugly medieval drawings. Like, the point of them is not to be pretty. They're just weird looking, and I enjoy them very much. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's go to the letter Q. Excuse me. The letter Q. Ooh, we're headed to Australia. This is interesting. Okay. So the letter Q is taking us away from Europe and down to Australia. Let's pull this guy up. What is the indigenous name for Australia? I think I know the one for New Zealand. Damn it, I need to look at it. Aotearoa, I think? Yeah, Aotearoa. I'm probably effing that up. But cool. So what's Australia? Huh. There's no one single name for Australia like there is for New Zealand. Interesting. Anyway, let's talk about this thing. I got myself distracted again. My apologies. You know me. I like to go down a little rabbit trail. Okay. So, this is not the pard, but this is the Queensland tiger. Obviously found in Queensland. Interesting. Okay, Queensland tiger, what are you about? Also known by its native name, the Yari. It is described as being a dog-sized feline with stripes and a long tail, prominent front teeth, and a savage temperament. It has been hypothesized to be a survivor or descendant of the large predatory marsupial. Felines are not marsupials, but like, go off. Okay. Called the Thylacoleo. Officially considered to be extinct. There the cryptozoologists go again with the extinct animals. Or possibly a large feral cat variant. In 1926, A.S. Lesouf described it as being a striped marsupial cat in the Wild Animals of Australasia. What the hell is Australasia? The information later also included the furred mammals of Australia. Oh, longtime curator of mammals in the Australian museums. Among cryptids, it has arguably become the closest to official recognition. Okay, give me more. The earliest documented eyewitness reports of the Queensland marsupial tiger date from 1871, with indigenous traditions of the Yari preceding these. Reports indicate that it's fast and agile. They've diminished in number since the 1950s, but incidents do continue to occur. Let me look up the Yari. Huh. Let's see. It's smaller than this makes it out to be. This makes it out to be like a big, big cat, but it's more like a big dog size. You know? Huh. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Okay. So, let's see what scientists think this thing is. Also, what makes a marsupial a marsupial? Because felines are mammals. Oh, a marsupial is a mammal. But how could something be a marsupial and a feline? Oh. Marsupials are born incompletely developed and are typically carried and suckled in a pouch on the mother's belly. Marsupials are found mainly in Australia, although 3 families, including the opossum, live in America. Okay. I forgot that a possum was a marsupial. Okay, so marsupials have mammalian characteristics like mammary glands, 3 middle ear bones, and true hair. Most female marsupials have a front pouch, which contains multiple nursing teats. They also have different bones, and there's a lot of words that I can't pronounce here. They lack a gross communication between the right and left brain hemispheres. Interesting. Okay. Huh. I just didn't think you could combine a feline and a marsupial. You never knew possums were marsupials. They are. I love a possum. They're some of my favorite weird little guys, and they're so good for the environment. My grandmother would feed them. Much to the chagrin of her neighbors. She would set out, like, you know, food that was, like, just about to go bad, or, like, you know, overripe fruit, or stuff like that out for the, I'm gonna go feed the opossums. And she'd take one of those, like, foil, like, baking pans out into the yard. Because she had a compost pile, so she's like, it's either going to the compost or the possums. So whatever the possums didn't eat would go into her compost pile. But then my mom, we didn't have possums in my yard growing up, but we had raccoons. And so my mother would do the same thing, but would feed the raccoons, much to the chagrin of our neighbors. But we had to put a brick on the top of our trash can so the raccoons wouldn't go into our trash can, but she would feed them, again, overripe fruit or food that was just about to go bad. The turkey carcass from Thanksgiving would at grandmother's house, if Gran took the carcass, it would go out to the opossums. And if it was, I mean, my mom usually made the turkey, so she would take the carcass home. And we would feed the raccoons, and boy howdy, they loved Thanksgiving for the turkey, but their other favorite was a watermelon. They would pick it down to the skin. They loved a watermelon. Anyway, sorry, marsupials, going on a rabbit trail. Can you tell I have not taken my ADHD meds today? I am just wee. Anyway, so the explanation could be a marsupial lion. Wait, that exists? Oh, it did exist. Okay, I was like, that exists now? Okay, so the marsupial lion was an animal of a similar size and predatory habits, and it did live in Australia as recently as the late Pleistocene period. Perhaps coexisting with the very first humans that arrived in Australia, who were the ancestors of the modern Australian Aborigines. However, scientists estimate that the marsupial lion went extinct 30,000 years ago. Modern sightings of an animal described as remarkably like the marsupial lion have led some researchers to speculate that a small relict population has somehow survived in remote areas. How would we lose track of an entire, I don't know, man. Either they're extinct or they were good at hiding. Okay, so that's what the scientists were thinking. Here's what the cryptozoologists were thinking. So, cryptozoologists who promote the theory of survival of the Tasmanian tiger also currently accept, or the thylacine thylacinus cynocephalus, a thylacinid, also currently accepted as extinct, favor the proposed survival of the Queensland tiger. The fundamental difference between the two cases, however, is that the last Tasmanian tiger died in captivity in 1936, and the species was not officially declared as extinct until 1986, 50 years after. This makes the prospect of species survival of the thylacine more likely than that of the marsupial lion. However, most cryptozoologists regard a thylacine identity for the Queensland tiger as very unlikely, as the Queensland tiger and the thylacine do not resemble one another in appearance or behavior. Hold on, what's the Tasmanian tiger look like? Do we have photos? Oh. That does not look like a tiger at all. I think it was only called a tiger because it had stripes. That's... Let me show y'all what the Tasmanian tiger looked like. One of the few photos of this thing in captivity, I think. So, some cryptozoologists think that the Queensland tiger could have been this. But others are like, nah, I don't think so. The girls are fighting. But this is what the Tasmanian tiger looked like. Again, it looks to me kind of rodent-esque. But it's got stripes, so somebody called it a tiger. Interesting. Anyway, that was letter Q. Q for Queensland tiger. Now, we are going for letter R to Japan. We're going back into yokai land. Oh, or at least I thought we were. Let me look it up. Correct, because this other thing does not look like a cat. Raiju. Ooh. Okay. Neither of these are super cat-like, but I'm gonna take this one over the other. Okay. So let's put our yokai friend up on screen and check this out. Nee 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 nee. That's a big ass picture of this thing. Nee 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 nee. Okay. This guy, let's get a load of this guy. This is the Raiju. The Raiju or the Thunder Beast. So let's get into it. So, Thunder Beasts says it lives in thunderbolts and it's probably carnivorous. So, Raiju is the embodiment of lightning into an animal form. Some say dog, some say wolf, some say cat. Apparently it can shift into different forms. So we'll take that with a grain of salt. They have long, sharp claws and ferocious faces. Generally, they were thought to look like wolves, dogs, tanuki, weasels, or cats. That's a pretty wide berth there. Far more fanciful forms existed as well. Let's see. They were sometimes said to have 4 rear legs and 2 tails, and we can see that here. Sometimes they were said to look like insects or crustaceans. Others looked like miniature dragons. Even more exotic Raiju were said to be chimerical monsters composed of many different animals. So the lightning can look like whatever the fuck it wants to. Allegedly. Let's see. So, Raiju live in the sky. A world that was off limits to humans before the 20th century. Are we going to get some 20th century sightings? Because of this, almost nothing can be said about their true nature or behavior. They ride bolts of lightning to Earth when thunder claps and create mayhem wherever they land. For seemingly no reason at all, they attack buildings, starting fires and causing mass destruction. Sounds like somebody hated thunder and lightning. And so they explained it via the Raiju. Long ago, Raiju were seen as divine beasts, akin to the thunder gods Raijin. Nothing was known about them except that they were fast, merciless, and deadly. Whenever lightning struck, people believed that a Raiju had been sent by the gods to punish them for some reason or another. Small Raiju like to burrow into humans' belly buttons to hide from angry thunder gods. What the fuck? This is the origin of a Japanese superstition which says to cover your belly button when you hear thunder? Wow, new fear that I did not need. Do not want a tiny beastie in my belly. That is so... Who came up with that? Whose idea was that? That's crazy. Okay, so here's the origin story of the Raiju. Long ago, the Raiju was one of the most well-known and most feared supernatural creatures in Japanese folklore. Yet today it is relatively minor and practically unknown to the average person. This drastic reversal is due to advances in science during the 19th and 20th centuries. In the Edo period and earlier, lightning and other natural disasters were believed to be the work of the gods. Only gods had the power to shake the earth and send fire from the sky. Lightning strikes so quickly and so randomly that it's impossible to observe, but it was very observable effects. The terrible booms that shake the ground, the odd burn patterns on the things it strikes, and the fires it ignites. In old Japan, when buildings were all made of wood and closely packed together, a single lightning strike could cause a lot of destruction. The damage caused by lightning was indiscriminate. It destroyed everything from peasant hovels to imperial palaces. Lightning was feared by all. Belly button lint is Raiju fur! So true, bestie. That's funny. That's kind of a funny thought. Velcro, are you a lightning demon? Are you a Raiju? Are you gonna go bury into someone's belly button? Not the belly button lint. That's so funny. Oh my god. During the Edo period, real, quote-unquote, Raiju were popular sideshow attractions, along with kappa and mermaids. We have talked about the kappa before. Mummified and taxidermied remains of cats, monkeys, and dogs were presented as Raiju and toured around the country in traveling shows. Viewers could pay a few coins to get a safe, up-close look at a dead Raiju in a glass case. There were a lot of sideshows that would just have mummified remains of whatever, and they would, market it as some sort of mythical creature. Was it, I think the most famous one, at least in the Western world, was it called the Fiji Mermaid? Yeah, the Fiji Mermaid. That was the, it was shown off at a show, and it ended up being, the torso and head of a young monkey sewed on to the back half of a fish. And that's what was presented. So I guess they did that. And presented it as Raiju. During the Meiji period, society was rapidly transformed due to the influx of foreign science and technology. Yokai like the Raiju were one of the first victims of this modernization. People were actively discouraged from holding on to superstitions because they were perceived as an embarrassment to the country. New understandings about electricity and lightning and the invention of the airplane explained away the Raiju's most defining features. Its life in the unreachable sky and the godlike power of lightning. Once those mysteries were gone, the Raiju had no more power over the people's imaginations, and so it was quickly forgotten. Okay, a quick legend. Because they were so scary, Raiju were usually presented in stories as beasts to be slain, like the Oni. The most famous example is probably the Nue, which attacked Kyoto and was slain by Minamoto no Yorimasa in 1153. Another legend involves the samurai Tachibana Dosetsu. One night, he was taking shelter from a storm under a tree when lightning struck. He drew his sword just in time to strike the bolt. When the smoke had cleared, there was a dead Raiju on the ground next to him. Afterwards, he named his sword Raikiri, or lightning cutter. Interesting. Interesting! Okay. So, that is letter R, the Raiju. I like that. Okay, S brings us back to the Americas, specifically the United States, and even more specifically, the Pacific Northwest. Hold on, let me click on this article. Ooh, is this from, like, the Lumberjack Tales? Yeah. Looky there. Yes! Because we had another cat cryptid from the Lumberjack Folklore Tales, and so this is gonna be our second one. I should get this book. This Lumberjack Spookies book. Look at it! Just bonk! That's apparently what this thing did, and this is the Splinter Cat. I think we can all figure out why this was called the Splinter Cat, but let's read first from the Lumberjack book. This is from Fearsome Creatures of the Lumberwoods, the 100th anniversary edition. So, the Splinter Cat. A widely distributed and frightfully destructive animal is the Splinter Cat. It is found from the Great Lakes to the Gulf and eastward to the Atlantic Ocean, but in the Rocky Mountains it has been reported from only a few localities. Apparently, the Splinter Cat inhabits that part of the country in which wild bees and raccoons abound. These are its natural food, and the animal puts in every dark and stormy night, shattering trees in search of raccoons or honey. It doesn't use any judgment in selecting raccoon trees or bee trees, but just smashes one tree after another until a hollow one containing food is found. The method used by this animal in its destructive work is simple, but effective. It climbs one tree and from the uppermost branches bounds down and across towards the tree it wishes to destroy. Striking squarely with its hard face, the Splinter Cat passes right on, leaving the tree broken and shattered as though struck by lightning or snapped off by the wind. Appalling destruction has been wrought by this animal in the Gulf states, where its work in the shape of a wrecked forest is often ascribed to windstorms. Yeah, Splinter Cat. I mean, I didn't think it was in search of food, but yeah, sure. That's kind of hilarious. Bonk! I mean, sure. The fact that it's specifically raccoons and, like, bees and honey, that is a very specific diet, Splinter Cat. That's so goofy. They always have a headache and as such are in a bad mood. Ooh, they make an appearance in Julie Andrews' children's book, The Last of the Really Great Wangdoodles. I forgot that Julie Andrews was writing children's books with her daughter. That's cute. Splinter Cat. I wonder... I mean, you know, domestic cats tend to bonk their heads on things, but it's more for scenting rather than, like, destroying shit. Although sometimes I gotta wonder, you know, some cats get really into it. Bonk, bonk, bonk. And I'm like, dude, you okay? That's goofy. Okay. Ooh, we got a few options for letter T. I really enjoyed that. Yeah. I gotta find that book. Ooh, here's a tale from the Fearsome Critters. Oh, that's so funny. Wait. I love that. Hang on. Fearsome Critters. This is the cover of a book. Let me grab that for y'all. Yeah, I need to get Fearsome Critters and the Lumberjack book. Okay. Doo-dee-doo. Alright, so we've got... There it is! There's that cat! Oh, Taily-Po. Alright. That's what it's called. The Taily-Po. It's kind of cute. I know it says it's a fearsome critter, but I think it's cute. Let's learn about this thing, shall we? The Taily-Po. A monstrous cat from North American folklore and the tales of fearsome critters, particularly in Appalachia in Virginia. Alternate names include Tailybone, Tailybones, Tailbones, Taily, Tail, Taily-Po separated, Taily-Po, and Tally-Po. This legend has been described as revolving around common anxieties for rural families in Appalachia, such as the fear of isolation or the fear of famine. It can also be seen as a cautionary tale, teaching and warning children not to commit animal cruelty. Oh dear. This looked so cute. Maybe it's not as cute as I thought. Okay, so it's a cat the size of a dog. Listen, there are dogs also the size of cats. Did you read this book, Riri? Scared the crap out of you. Oh no. I never read this book as a child. And apparently this book was inspired by the legend. I have never heard of this thing. Interesting. That's interesting that you know it. Okay. Let's see. Cat the size of a dog. Depending on the storyteller, it has either yellow or red eyes, pointed ears, and a long tail, and maybe tufted ears like a bobcat. It is nocturnal, covered in dark fur to blend into its environment. It only attacks with its claws, suggesting it is an animal, not a more versatile demon or spirit. It speaks some English, demanding the return of its tail. Okay. The story is almost always set at night in a heavily wooded rural area. Geographically, the setting is accepted to be somewhere in the American South. The events could feasibly occur at any time period, given the isolation and atmosphere of the tale. You know, I probably could have heard of a lot more of these cryptids, but I was a weenie as a child. I was very easily scared, and so anytime my grandfather tried to tell me a ghost story, my grandmother would stop him. Otherwise, she'd have to deal with my shit all night. Ugh. Okay. The main events occur in a log cabin deep in the woods where a hermit and his 3 dogs live. During a season of considerable hunger and a lack of suitable game, the tale begins with a hermit and his 3 hounds. The man is out at night looking for the evening meal and manages to shoot a small hare, which he shares with his dogs. Understandably still hungry, the man presses on and discovers a bizarre shape with bright eyes and a long tail. The hermit quickly shoots at the creature, severing its tail. Screaming, the creature runs off into the darkness, and the man eats the tail, either raw or in a stew. Oh dear, here we go. On the brink of sleep, a rustling and clawing wakes the man. Sitting up, the hermit is able to see the gleaming eyes of the Talipo leering at him from the foot of his bed. In an otherworldly voice, the creature demands the return of its Talipo. Terrified, the man calls for his hounds, which immediately come to his aid, chasing the beast off into the night. Wait a minute. Wait, this is sounding actually more familiar. The dogs. The thing at the foot of the bed and the dogs. Okay, maybe my grandfather did tell me this story and I blocked it out of my brain. Oh god, something bad is gonna happen to these dogs. I just know it. Ugh. Let's see. With the creature back into the woods, 2 of the hermit's dogs return. Yep, I remember this. Oh no, I remember this. Oh no. Bad kitty. Ugh. No, the dogs. I remember the part about the dogs. Oh, Jesus Christ. I just didn't remember what it was. Oh, man. Yeah, no. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Shit. Oh, boy. Unlocked childhood fears. God. Yeah, I'm with you, Riri. This scared the hell out of me. With the creature chased back into the woods, 2 of the hermit's dogs return, but 1 is missing. The man tries to sleep, but the Talipo soon returns, beckoning even more forcefully for the return of its tail. Again, the man sicks his hounds onto the Talipo, and again 1 is missing upon the return of the survivor. Unable to sleep, the man clutches his weapon and waits for Dawn, his remaining dog nearby. When the Talipo appears for the 3rd time, the man once again orders the hound to attack the Talipo. Predictably, the dog chases the creature away and does not return. Listen, if this has happened twice, why you knew this dog wouldn't come back? Why would you sacrifice that dog? That's terrible. The man, now left with no real protection, having exhausted his 3 hounds, cowers under his bedsheets, praying for dawn. Hours before daybreak, the man hears the familiar rustling sound, hoping it's one of his dogs. Unfortunately, the man is leapt upon by the Talipo and is either disarmed or has dropped his weapon in terror. The beast is now eye to eye with the man and demands once more the return of his Talipo. Most commonly, oh god! Oh Jesus! Oh no! Oh, this is... Why? Who made this into a children's book? What the what? Most commonly, the man is described as being flayed beyond recognition by the Talipo. In less explicit versions, all that remains of the cabin is the chimney. Either way, it is understood that the Talipo has exacted revenge for the loss of its tail. During the darkest of nights, the creature can be heard whispering for its Talipo. The Talipo legend has countless versions, or variations, many of which are passed down orally. The theme of a hungry man and his dogs hunting for food by their old cabin is constant. However, the methods used by the man to defend himself vary from axes to rifles. It was a rifle in the story I heard. Also, the man's dogs sometimes simply get lost or just flee in fright instead of being eaten or killed by the Talipo. Sometimes the dogs chase the creature into a swamp and then disappear, with the suggestion that they were lured into the swamp to be killed. In some variants, the Talipo actually enters the cabin through a hole in the floor, as opposed to being found in the woods. The season is accepted to be late autumn, but this too varies. Usually, these variations depend most heavily on the target audiences, with grisly embellishments removed for younger listeners. In some versions, the man's dogs are named in order of appearance: Uno, Ino, and Kumptico Calico. Right? I'm creeped out. Ugh. God, I have to sleep with my lamp on. Ugh. I mean, I don't hunt things. I don't do none of that, but Jesus. Whoa! Velcro, don't do that. You scared me. Velcro just sneezed and scared the snot out of me. Velcro. She's like, what? I had to sneeze. Oh, Jesus, girl. She's judging me. She's judging me so hard. Velcro. Don't thump your tail at me. Thump. Ugh. God, who made this? Who tells this to... Well, apparently our parents, or, finding this book. I'm trying to remember if it was grandparents or maybe if they read this. Hold on. Where is this book? Why is this made for children? It might have been read to us at the library, maybe. Oh God, everybody on Reddit being like, oh no. It was made by fucking Scholastic? Scholastic, what the shit? Oh my God. All these people, I fucked my shit up, something awful. Yeah. Jesus. That's crazy. Scholastic? Scholastic, you're supposed to be for the magic school bus and like Clifford the big red dog, not the fucking Taily-Po. Oh man. Apparently a bunch of kids liked this book. Not me. Jesus. Well, I did not expect an unlocked childhood memory about this horrifying thing, but okay. Let's move along, shall we? God, we went from the stupid, goofy Splinter Cat to horrifying nonsense. Okay. Let's move along, alright? Hopefully this next one won't be so... Oh, that's not... Can we find one that's not so scary looking? What? What? Well, this one's on an artifact. I'll take that. I will take that. Thank you. Jesus, scare myself. Boy, howdy. Okay, so... We're gonna leave the Taily-Po in its book. Oh, this picture is so itty bitty teeny tiny. Okay, we fix, and then we enlarge. This one has a pretty straightforward name. This is the Underwater Panther. Is this a cat mermaid? I would be happy with that. I would be very happy with that. Okay, so Underwater Panther. Where's this thing from? What does it do? Oh, okay. So, this is a Native American legend. An underwater panther called the Mishipeshu or Mishibijwi in Ojibwe is one of the most important of several mythological water beings in many indigenous peoples of the northeastern woodlands and Great Lakes region, particularly among the Anishinaabe. Mishipeshu translates into the Great Lynx, and it has the head and paws of a giant cat, but is covered in scales and has dagger-like spikes running along its back and tail. Mishipeshu calls Michipicoten Island in Lake Superior his home, and is a powerful creature in the mythological traditions of some Native American tribes, again, particularly the Anishinaabe. The Anishinaabe, Odawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi of the Great Lakes region of Canada and the United States. Okay. To the Algonquins, the underwater panther was the most powerful underworld being. Ooh, spooky. The Ojibwe traditionally held them to be masters of all water creatures, including snakes. Some versions of the Nanabozo creation legend refers to whole communities of water lynx. Some archaeologists believe that underwater panthers were major components of the southeastern ceremonial complex of the Mississippian culture in the prehistoric American Southwest. Jesus, southeastern ceremonial complex of the Mississippian culture. Say that 5 times fast. That's crazy. Okay. Let's learn about this thing. In the Ojibwe language, this creature is sometimes called... Okay, yeah, there's a lot of different names for this thing. But all of which translates to Great Lynx. Or the Fabulous Night Panther. I love that. Fabulous Night Panther. However, it is commonly referred to as the Great Underground Wildcat or the Great Underwater Wildcat. In the mythologies of the indigenous peoples of the Great Lakes, underwater panthers are described as water monsters that live in opposition to the Thunderbirds, master of the powers of the air. We talked about Thunderbirds in a previous stream. Let's see. Underwater panthers are seen as opposing yet complementary forces to the Thunderbirds, and they are engaged in eternal conflict. The underwater panther was an amalgam of parts from many animals. The body of a wild feline, often a cougar or lynx, the horns of a deer or bison, upright scales on its back, occasionally feathers, and parts from other animals as well, depending on the particular myth. Underwater panthers are represented with the exceptionally long tails, occasionally with some serpentine properties. The creatures are thought to roar or hiss in the sounds of storms or rushing rapids. Mishi-Peshu were said to live in the deepest parts of lakes and rivers where they can cause storms. Some traditions believed the underwater panthers to be helpful, protective creatures, but more often they were viewed as malevolent beasts that brought death and misfortune. They often needed to be placated for safe passage across a lake. As late as the 1950s, the Prairie Band of Potawatomi Indians performed a traditional ceremony to placate the underworld panther and maintain balance with the Thunderbird. When ethnographer Johann Georg Kohl visited the United States in the 1850s, he spoke with a Fond du Lac chief who showed Kohl a piece of copper kept in his medicine bag. The chief said it was a strand of hair from the Mishi-Peshu and thus considered extremely powerful. Okay, copper. 'Cause it conducts electricity, maybe? Mishi-Peshu is known for guarding the vast amounts of copper in Lake Superior and the Great Lakes region. Indigenous people mined copper long before the arrival of Europeans to the area. Later, during the 17th century, missionaries of the Society of Jesus arrived in the Great Lakes region. By that time, swiping copper from the region was extremely taboo and forbidden by the Ojibwa tribe. It was even worse to take it from the Great Lynx's home, Michipoten Island. This was considered to be stealing from Mishi-Peshu himself. And of course, I'm sure those European motherfuckers did it. Listen, Catholic missionaries did not give a fuck. Ugh, and they ruined things. Anyway, there are a few stories of encounters with this great beast. Oh yes, the missionaries. Yeah, you're gonna fuck around and find out, missionaries. A Jesuit missionary named Claude Dablon told a story about 4 Ojibwa Indians who embarked on a journey to the home of Mishi-Peshu to take some copper back to their home and use it to heat water. That was probably shit you and your friends did. I'm sure they knew better. The very second they pushed off and backed into the water with their canoe, the eerie voice of the water panther surrounded them. The water panther came growling after them, vigorously accusing them of stealing the playthings of his children. All 4 of them died on the way back to their village, the last one surviving long enough just to tell the tale of what had happened in his final moments before he died. Okay. Okay, and so depictions in art, maybe we can find out about this thing. The underwater panther is The underwater panther is well represented in pictograms. Historical Anishinaabe twined and quilled men's bags often feature an underwater panther on one panel and the thunderbird on the other. Norval Morisot painted underwater panthers in his woodland-style artworks, contemporary paintings based on Ojibwe oral history and cosmology. The emblem has been embellished and appears as a decorative motif on muskets. The Canadian Museum of History includes an underwater panther in its coat of arms. In 2003, archaeologist Brad Lepper suggested that the alligator effigy mound in Granville, Ohio, represents the underwater panther. Lepper posits that early European settlers, when learning from Native Americans that the mound represented a fierce creature that lived in the water and ate people, they mistakenly assumed that they were referring to an alligator. Interesting. Okay, Mishi Peshu, underwater panther. Interesting. Interesting. All right, we are in the home stretch, people. VWXYZ. We are in the last 5. Although, my playlist stopped. I just realized. We're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go grab some more water right quick. And then I will be back and we will do the last 5 kitty cats. Be right back, people. Okay. Alright, we're back. I got me a little throat lozenge. My mouth and my throat were a little dry. Just a little dry. Good evening, divas. Hello. Good evening. Welcome, Macaron. I hope you had a lovely Thursday. We're on the last 5 kitty cat cryptids. We just finished discussing the underwater panther after scaring ourselves silly by reliving the childhood trauma of the Tailipo. But the underwater panther was super cool. So, next. Hold on, letter V, letter V. Let me double check if this is the correct one. Lion cryptids? Well, we've had cougars and panthers and leopards. Ah, here we go. Here's another one. A lot of these are kind of like chimeras. Like, you know, they may have lion bits, but they're usually never like all one cat, you know what I mean? Okay, let's look at this next one. Oh, gotta fix my picture. Speaking of cats, I hear JJ hollering in the other room. He's gonna have to wait. Lion bits, you know what I mean. Like a tail or a head or a mane. There's a joke about me somewhere in there, sure. Okay, so this next one is called simply the vampire cat. And you know me, I love a vampire. Maybe a nyanpire, if you will. Anyway. So, the vampire cat, also colloquially known as the Beast of Bladenborough, is a large monster identified with vampiric qualities that made several livestock and pet killings in Bladenborough, North Carolina in the December of 1954. This is a very specific instance. It lasted for 10 days. In 2007, the beast returned, but in other regions such as Bolivia, Greensboro, and Lexington. Why would it disappear for 53 years and then come back? That seems silly. To me, at least. Okay. So, the killings first happened on December 29th, 1954, right before New Year's, when a farmer reported that a large cat-like beast had attacked one of his dogs and dragged it into the underbrush. Not the Tailipo. More killings happened on New Year's Day in 1955, when 2 dogs were found dead and all of their blood was drained out. The next day, 2 more dogs were attacked by the mystery predator. What's it got against dogs? Damn. On January 6th, 1955, a 21-year-old mother named Mrs. C.E. Kinlaw was outside one morning at 7:30 a.m. and saw the beast stalking towards her. She screamed and ran inside the house. Her husband ran outside with a shotgun and saw the beast had left cat-like paw prints. A farmer also reported that a mystery creature had killed 3 of his hogs, some of his cows, and 1 of his goats. The goat's head was fat and fritter. People also heard weird noises that sounded cat-like and some that sounded like a baby crying and a woman screaming. Locals reported seeing a creature that was part bear, part panther. It was 3 to 4 feet long, 20 inches high, and weighed 150 pounds. It had brownish and tabby bushy fur. The beast also had runty-looking ears with a long tail and a cat-like face. These were the only descriptions of the vampire cat. The town's police chief, Roy Fors, organized a hunt for the creature, but came up empty-handed. When the mayor, W.G. Fussell, told the newspapers about the creature, the beast got national publicity, and hunters came all the way from Tennessee. Newspapers from Arizona to New York gave coverage to the hunt for the beast. Meanwhile, the town was in chaos. Children were not allowed out at night, and men stormed the forest with guns trying to find the creature. A large bobcat was killed by hunters Fors and Fussell, and this ended the search. After that, things started to settle down again. So y'all blamed it on a bobcat. How dare they, Velcro? Right? How dare they? Okay, so let's talk about 2007. The beast returned to North Carolina in 2007, bringing more surprises and fear with it. In Lexington, 60 goats were found with their blood drained and their heads crushed. Holy shit, that's insane. 30 miles away in Greensboro, another farmer lost his goats in the same way. Yeah, 60 is a lot. I don't think that's just... That's in 2007, not 1954. This is the new sighting. But 60 goats is a lot, and I don't think that was just one creature. That's nuts. In Bolivia, a man named Bill Robinson lost his pit bull to the creature. He buried it, but the next day it was in the same location where it was killed. 4 days later, another resident, Leon Williams, found his pit bull dead. It was covered in blood and was missing a few body parts. There was no sign of a struggle, which is strange for a pit bull. Other places lost a total of 10 dogs in just 2 weeks. More tracks were found, and these ones measured 4.5 inches in diameter. 4.5 inches. That's a big foot. That's a big old cat. That's a big old feet. Velcro's got teeny tiny feet. That's wild. In 2008, TV show Monster Quest. What? I never heard of this. Hang on, we're gonna have to look up Monster Quest. Did a search for the beast. They concluded that what people may have been seeing and what may have been killing their animals was a cougar. However, the cougar has been dismissed as extinct throughout the east coast of America, except for the tip of Florida. Hang on, what the fuck is Monster Quest? Ooh! An American television show which ran from 2007 to 2010 on the History Channel. Bitch. I gotta see if that's, I gotta go find Monster Quest. I wanna watch Monster Quest. That sounds silly as fuck. Listen, I may be a nerd, but I love the History Channel. I do. Focusing on, oh my god, we need to have a watch party for Monster Quest. Focusing on a different cryptid each episode, Monster Quest eschewed the reality TV approach to its subject matter, leaning more towards a scientific method. The show frequently employed professional cryptozoologists, researchers, and adventurers alongside eyewitness accounts to investigate its cases, and rather than bias its topic in favor of the creator's opinions, tended more to present evidence and let the viewer make up their own mind. Right? Oh my god. Okay, so they've got... episode... Just the first season, you've got America's Loch Ness Monster, Sasquatch Attack, Giant Squid Found, Birdzilla, Bigfoot, Mutant Canines, Lions in the Backyard, Gigantic Killer Fish, Swamp Beasts, Russia's Killer Ape Men, gotta watch that, Unidentified Flying Creatures, The Real Hobbit, Giganto, The Real King Kong, and American Werewolf. Ooh, they have an episode on the vampire. Oh yeah, we just talked about that. Pfft. Super Rats. Monster Spiders. Sasquatch Attack 2. Gators in the Sewers. Oh my god. Yes. I will search for that. And we can watch some fucking Monster Quest. That's hilarious. We find so many fun things on these streams. They had 4 seasons before getting canceled. Not due to lack of viewers or subject material, but because the History Channel wanted to move its programming in another direction. Alright, hey, at least we got 4 seasons of this shit. Yippee! Okay, we've done the letter V. Vampire Cat. It's time for W. Oh, another tiger. We've had quite a few tigers on this thing. We talked about the blue tiger, the Maltese tiger. Ooh. We've got a trail cam photo. We love a cryptid photo, and you can't tell what it is, but I still enjoy it. Yeah, okay. There we go. This one, oop, okay, that's pretty big. Hang on, let me scale it. Oops. Scale it down like so. This is apparently the only photo of this thing. But this one is called White Death. A little on the nose. Let's find out why. White Death. Alright, White Death, also known as the Alaskan tiger, is a large feline that inhabits the swampy areas outside of Paxton, Alaska. Native legend tells that this ferocious cat has been around for years. Also in legend, after every human it kills, a new stripe will appear on its back. Well then. Very few people nowadays have seen the creature because it prowls in marshy terrain that is often difficult to travel through. Alaska Monsters features there's a show all about just monsters in Alaska. Alaska Monsters features an episode in season 1 where they go after this cat. They attempt to use a tranquilizer dart trap, but the creature heads in a direction that it is unwanted to the team. As the muddy terrain gets the better of them, they decide they should end the hunt before someone gets severely injured. They only have 2 seasons of Alaska Monsters. Oh my god, it's a whole crew of, like, country-ass looking people. Oh my god, this is I love this. I love this. Give me weird old people hunting monsters. Ugh. Ooh. Hi, Velcro. She's moving around. Okay. So, what's the difference? Okay, so we have some tiger variations. So we've got Siberian tigers, we've had the Chinese tigers, is far less frequently than other places. There have been some cases when tigers turned into man-eaters, but they are few and far between. Let's see. Their favorite prey is usually red deer, also elk and wild boar. Let's see. In the early 90s, scientists were able to tag and monitor 11 tigers for a year and a half. What they found was the tigers far and away preferred to follow the red deer around and didn't pay much attention to wild pigs, elk, moose, or bear. Let's see. If there are multiple sizes of prey in the area, tigers will tend to go after the largest among them. Tigers have been known to kill and eat adult moose, as well as bears weighing in excess of 990 pounds. That's crazy. This theory apparently states that red deer no longer live in Alaska, with the exception of some in the southern region south of Juneau. So if those are the primary food source for these tigers, they're that would be the only place that they could go, but they were sighted allegedly farther north of there. Let's see. Okay. So, the presence of Siberian tigers in America was about 100,000 years ago, according to fossil records. Um, but that's a long fucking time ago. I don't think that they would be there unless this was some tiger that was in captivity and then escaped. So yeah, if also, this, to me, this photo looks like a mountain lion rather than a tiger. There are no stripes on this thing. Um, this very much looks like a cougar or like a female mountain lion or some kind of animal like that. I feel like White Death, these white tigers in Alaska, are probably just wishful thinking. Anyway. Or, I guess, because, you know, they say every time White Death kills, it gets a stripe on its back. Maybe the stripes are being blocked by the tree. Maybe this tiger didn't kill anybody. I don't know. Alright. Now, technically, we have XYZ left to go, but I don't think we have a tiger or a cat that starts with the letter X. But we do have something with multiple X's in its name, so we're just gonna have to get creative for the letter X. Alright? Everybody's so creative. We're just gonna get a little creative with it. We're gonna fudge it just a little bit. Ooh, that's a much smaller picture than I thought it was. Yoink. Now, before y'all get on my ass, I know its head is not a cat, but its body is. So, we are headed to Egypt to see the Aztecs. Alright, so this is an animal from Egyptian mythology, the Aztecs, for the letter X. A hybrid griffin-type creature, described as having the body of a heavily muscled cat and the head and wings of a hawk. The skull of the XX is adorned with 3 curved appendages, which some researchers have suggested bear a resemblance to the crest found on modern-day roosters. This also suggests that the depictions and the possible human interaction with the XX were of males of the species. So apparently they were worshipped as a part of the extensive Egyptian pantheon. So let's see what we can dig up on that. So these are probably minor deities. They weren't, you know, like Isis or Sekhmet or Anubis or anything like that. These guys were, you know, a little closer to us, the minor deities. Let's see. What was it worshipped for? Huh. Sometimes it is depicted with secretary bird parts rather than hawk parts. Oh, this article says specifically, Macaron, that it has a lion's body. The body of a lion and the wings and head of a hawk. So there's another lion bit for you. Yeah, what were you... Huh. What is this? Not a whole lot about this. Somebody put it in their video game. Possibly had something to do with fire. I'm looking for more information, but there's not much. Oh, but they were also spotted in Persia, Greece, and Rome. Very popular as logos and mascots around the world. Okay, interesting. So, like an ancestor of the modern griffin, maybe. So, all right. The Axex. Now, why? Why? Don't get mad at me. We're gonna go a little further into... Oh, no, wait. There's another option. I was gonna talk about the Yule Cat. But we talked about the Yule Cat, I think, last Christmas. Oh, okay. Yamapicardia. Let's see. It's not on the yokai page, so it's not a yokai, but it is a Japanese cryptid. So we're headed back to Japan for this guy. This little guy. Ah, shoot. Big picture. Oops. Make sure y'all can see the notes. Yeah. Yamapikara. That's what it's called. For letter Y. If I can capitalize that, Yamapikara. Okay. Yamapikara. A large cat-like cryptid from Iriomote Island. Now, there is the Iriomote wildcat that does exist. So I wonder how this one's different. So, Yamapikara means something luminous in the mountains, in the local language. In appearance, it is a large cat-like creature similar to a leopard. It is described as having tiger-like colored fur, but with black spots instead of stripes. Yes, so there is a wild cat called the Iriomote cat on Iriomote Island, but the Yamapikara is more than twice as big as the Iriomote cat and is estimated to be 1 meter to 1.8 meters long. That's a lot. According to Japanese books on this cryptid, there are more than 47 local people who claim to have encountered the Yamapikara, but few reports have been compiled in detail. In 2003, a local man named Shoichi Shimabukuro was walking outdoors to set a boar trap when he saw a Yamapikara jumping from a rock. It jumped a distance of more than 3 meters. On September 14th, 2007, Professor Hideo Akiyoshi of Shimane University visited the beach for a fish survey and found a Yamapikara only 2.5 meters away, measuring 1.8 meters in length, half of which was occupied by its tail. So, what could be the explanation for this? Its characteristics are similar to those of the clouded leopard, which is distributed in East and Southeast Asia, and it is believed that the clouded leopard may be its true identity. However, it is not distributed at all on Iriomote Island or its neighboring islands. Considering the area and biota of Iriomote Island, it is impossible for clouded leopards to live there. Therefore, it is very likely that people merely misidentified a large Iriomote wildcat. So, anything else? Yamapikara. Let's see. Oh. Also, because this says Yamapikara, but in some literature, it's written as Yamapikarya, like with a Y before the A. Yamapikarya. Iriomote Island around Okinawa. Okay, I was wondering where exactly Iriomote was. Okay. Oh, apparently before World War II or until the period of food shortages immediately following the end of the war, Yamapikara were used as food. According to an elderly man who claimed to have eaten it, it was unforgettably delicious. Okay. Okay, so there was a researcher in 1965 who went to the island, and he was also part of the team that discovered the Iriomote cat. He heard a hunter had killed a huge wildcat with a tiger pattern and dumped the body, so he went to the site and investigated. Hunter said that up until 10 days before he arrived, there was a skeletonized carcass, but by the time Togawa had visited, the carcass had already been lost due to heavy rain. Someone claimed to have captured a Yamapikara, but he didn't think the creature would be valuable to sell, so he let it go. Okay, so there are still people who think that it's just a large Iriomote cat. What does an Iriomote wildcat look like? Oh, huh. It's so little. Oh, it's tiny. That looks like a house cat. Okay. Yeah, no, Iriomote cats don't get this big. I mean, it could have been a fluke. Look how itty bitty. Let me show y'all the picture. This is so cute. Look how little tiny. If not friend, why friend-shaped? Look! Look at the baby! So this is an Iriomote wildcat. It is so cute! I love it. I now must go to Iriomote Island so I can go see these cats. Right? That's a baby! That is God's perfect killing machine that you can pick up and give forehead kisses. I would not recommend that because it's a wild cat. Don't do that. But hold on, how big did they say the Yamapikara was? Said it was 1 meter to 1.8 meters. How many feet are a meter? Isn't it like 3 point something? No, 4 something? Meter to feet. Yeah, 1 meter is about 3.3 feet. Give or take. So 3 feet long to like 5 feet long. And the one that that professor saw was about 5 feet long. Because he said it was like 1.8 meters or 5 foot something. No, 1.8, that's like 6 feet. Right? Because technically I'm like 1.6, 5, 6, 7 meters tall. And I'm like 5'5", 5'6". So yeah, 1.8. I think that's 6 feet tall. That's how can go from baby to so big? Because this is an adult wildcat. The Idiomote cat. That's a fully grown thing. Ugh, it's so cute. Anyway, Yamapikara. Okay, last letter. Last letter. Z. Yo, where is that? Hang on a minute. Okay. So this is off the eastern coast of Africa. This is an island off the coast of Tanzania is where this thing is found. Let's see. Well, that is a picture. I don't know if I want to put a photo of a taxidermy. Okay, maybe the black and white one will be a little better. I don't want to scare y'all with photos of taxidermied animals. I don't want to squick y'all out too much. Okay. So, here is our last kitty cryptid for the night. And this is the Zanzibar leopard. There's been lots of leopards today. Humans didn't want to believe that leopards existed, alright? They kept thinking they were hybrids of different shit. Nope, it's a leopard. Okay, so this is the Zanzibar leopard. So, an elusive subspecies of leopard, which are endemic to Unguja Island, which is an island in the Zanzibar archipelago, which is governed by Tanzania, because it's off the coast of Tanzania. Zanzibar archipelago, also known as Spice Islands. Okay, interesting. Increasing conflict between people and leopards in the 20th century led to their demonization and determined attempts to exterminate them. Efforts to develop a leopard conservation program in the mid-1990s were shelved when wildlife researchers concluded there was little prospect for the animal's long-term survival. Well, damn it, I didn't want to be so depressing for our last one. This was a real animal. This wasn't, damn. Well, I guess let's keep learning. The natives' descriptions of the Zanzibar leopard portray it as a pet kept by witches, which used it to do harm. Damn, okay, it had a bad reputation. The Zanzibar leopard was believed to be responsible for the killing of some livestock, where it was sent by a witch in order to disrupt a village. As the human population of Zanzibar grew, they began to encroach more on the Zanzibar leopard's habitat. The increase in conflict with the leopards caused extermination campaigns that soon became widespread after the Zanzibar Revolution. One such campaign was led by Kitanzi Mitaji Kitanzi, who hunted the leopards, which he believed were vermin, and brought people who he suspected were witches to custody. Jesus, by the 1990s, many in the scientific community declared the Zanzibar leopard to be extinct. Ooh, good news about them. Someone that searches for extinct animals did catch one on a trail cam. Hell yeah, I hope that's true. Also, hello, Mendy Tiger. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for our Cat Cryptid stream. Okay. There have been multiple sightings since the Zanzibar leopard has been declared extinct. Okay, there is hope. The deaths of some livestock have been attributed to the Zanzibar leopard. In 2018, American adventurer and host of the Animal Planet television show Extinct or Alive, Forrest Galanti caught footage of the Zanzibar leopard on a trail camera. This proved the existence of the Zanzibar leopard. And there is a clip. Let me stop the music right quick. Let's watch the clip. Let's see. Let me wait for it to load first. Extinct or Alive is the title of this show. And we're gonna switch our screens over real quick. There we go. Okay. Extinct or Alive, the Zanzibar leopard. Here we go. Ooh, somebody's excited.
This camera crew in shock. They just caught an animal thought to be
there it is
on film.
Oh my god. What camera is that on?
Holy. The animal in question was this, a Zanzibar leopard.
Whoa.
The amazing moment happened during a taping of Animal Planet's Extinct or Alive. Wildlife adventurer Forrest Galante had set out in search of the rare cat in the jungle.
Oh, it was a good show. He found a few declared. Okay, interesting.
There's a leopard here. Hopefully.
This is like the third TV show we found on our excursions this night into Cat Cryptids. We got some watching to do.
Enough meat. It's gonna smell it.
The animal was thought to be extinct for 25 years. Locals believed the Zanzibar leopards were sent by witches or people with the intent to hurt them. That led to the animal to be hunted into oblivion. Or so everyone thought until this genius idea.
But I wonder how many are actually
a
left.
Kitty cat's play den. It's just this dangly mess of meat. So they're gonna see it dangling, they're gonna smell it, and in theory they're just gonna queue in here and have a field day.
The result was history making.
Look, look, look.
Since capturing the footage, Forrest has started collaborating with local anthropologists and government to try to collect DNA evidence. Truly groundbreaking stuff.
Yeah, hopefully there's enough to, you know, bring them back. We'll have to see. Okay, interesting. I love that. And I love that we got, you know, some video evidence. We don't often get video evidence on these streams. But that's cool. All right. So, that is the Zanzibar leopard. Nice. All right, all right. So, that was 2018. Hopefully, there has been enough conservation going on since then to bring back some sort of population. But yeah, nice. So, we did it, people. Cat Cryptids A to Z. We had to do it in 2 parts because it was a little too long. But I'm glad that we were able to talk about them and hang out, and it was fun. There will be more cryptid streams this month because it do be Halloweenkies. I was thinking of doing maybe a vampire special this month because I love me some vampires. Oh! You know, Riri, I think you're right. Ichigo from Tokyo Mew Mew had Idiomote cat DNA. I think you're right, because I think it was endangered at some point. You smart, you remembered. Look at that. I knew she was, you know, infused with some cat DNA. I just couldn't remember which cat. Anyway, so that was our last planned stream of the week. Although I was thinking of maybe popping back on a Sunday afternoon for a bit more date everything. I will let you know in the Discord server if that's going to be happening. But we will be back, of course, next week with some more Yakuza Like a Dragon. With, we're going to start Undertale next week. And then maybe, just maybe, we'll start our Mothman game. Because I think that would be lovely. Who am I going to throw you at? I see Muga is live and being spooky. So let's go say hey to Muga. Say hey to my friend, the little bat, the little demon. And I will see you again for another stream. So thank you for spending your Thursday evening with me. I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed it very much. Thank you to viewers, old and new. I appreciate you all. And to my lurkers, mwah! Lots of love, friends. I always appreciate it. Even if I'm just background noise, I'm glad to be your background noise. So, if you are not, please make sure you are in the Discord server for all of the updates for my YouTube people. That's in the description box. For my Twitch people, either use the command or it's in the panels down below. Thank you very much. Have a lovely rest of your evening and a happy weekend. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.